done?
Well, I mean, we're doing the regular, the ongoing reviews of films, books,
Hmm.
music, comic books, magazines, etc. But we've one of the good things is that we keep getting new people on board that do different things, and we got
Really?
a new dynamic staff member on board. She's reviewing films. She also has a background in hip hop. She's a big hip hop head, and she has her own website, etc. So Gabby has come aboard and is contributing. Also, I know we're going to do great things with her. She's on the West Coast, so she's done a handful of reviews for us already. And little by little, we'll find her place in the bigger universe of Latin horror. But the website keeps going strong. We recently partnered with the New York Horror Film Festival, and we did two panels. One was a panel with some of the Latino filmmakers that were in the festival, and we also did a panel which was on the business of horror, right? And we had five dynamic um, panelists, and we talked about the different ways that people normally don't think about horror, but it's a whole business. It isn't just directing or writing. There's a bunch of things. There's merchandising, there's magazines, there's
Dang.
you could do in film itself, whether it's
Right.
writing, doing cinematography, etc. So we had five different people on that were from
Hmm.
the industry, including Rodrigo Godinho from Rue Morgue magazine, and a slew of others. It was really nice,
Hmm.
and now we're just looking at what we're doing for 2022, which includes now finally starting to do productions under Latin Horror as a production company,
Oh, that's great. That's a
which
good
has been a
transition.
long-term interest of ours, and my partner in the endeavor, Christian Moran, has been kind of pushing that for a while. It was one of our early wish lists even when I first started, but it didn't become part of the sort of the workflow. And we're going to be doing an anthology of films. Some of them we're partnering with some friends that I have that have their own production company called Audiovisual Terrorism. So it's a partnership. And the idea is to do a hand.
That's a good name. It's a little worrisome though. It's a
Yeah,
good
yeah.
name.
These are the coolest cats you'll ever meet, and true independent filmmakers, hence the name. And one of the first ones we're doing is called Glasgow Jack, and
Last
it's a
watch.
story that I wrote and I'm directing. We're going to be shooting in about a month from now, a month
Is
and
it
a
a
half.
feature or a short?
It's a short film. It's a short
Okay.
film, and it's all the pieces of the anthology are going to be short films, and so it's about a sort of a curse doll. This guy moves into a apartment in a house,
Okay.
and the place that the landlady shows him is too small, actually too big, and he thinks he wants something a little smaller because he's just gone through a life change and he just wants to kind of shrink a little and get through it. So she
Mm.
jokes around that the only place available is the attic, and of course it strikes his fancy, and he ends up renting the attic.
Mm.
And the things that are stowed away in the attic, like sort of a storage place, is this chest, and in the chest he finds
Mhm.
comic books and various things, including this doll. Right, so he recognizes it and would recognize it immediately because it's the face of the iconic steeplechase Jack, which is the emblem for Coney Island, and the doll is that. I won't give away much more than that, but it's
Oh.
about the doll starting to cause various things, and it's a supernatural horror. So our protagonist, which we're going to start casting next month, in about two
Mhm.
weeks, notice will go out. We're going to,
Mhm.
really move it forward. And then we got other pieces that we're shooting with Christian himself and some other filmmakers from the East Coast and West Coast that we're going to be bringing in. But we wanted to get this one done, and the reason that we're a little bit more rushed to do this one is because we want to enter it into the Coney Island Film Festival,
Ooh.
and the deadline from this particular recording is in June, the final deadline. So we have to shoot it, of course, edit it, fine tune it, Although I think that perhaps if we have it to a nice cut at that point, we can always submit it as a work in progress, knowing that the
Sure.
festival doesn't happen until later in the year. And so those are some of the things we're working on. I'm getting back personally into doing a lot more writing, narrative writing, going back through my scripts. I probably have around 15, 20 scripts
What?
at various stages.
20? Dang,
Yeah.
I'm only stuck on 4. I'm slow. I went
At
there.
various stages, so don't get too impressed. Some of them are perhaps 20 pages in. And some of them are fuller, but I'm going back through them and looking at what fits into Latin horror and what sort of isn't, because some of them are not about horror.
Mhm.
Some are more high concept films that would probably be good for, mainstream Hollywood. To see if I can get those on the radar as a writer in general, even if some of them are optioned. I think that at this stage in the game, the high concept ones probably would get a director that's from the industry, more seasoned than I. But hopefully, with the stuff that I'm doing, the sort of lower budget ones, I can sort of start, uh, starting to get toward the point where I get a chip in the game, and then I can sort of do some of the higher budget ones down the line. But it's been, quite a few years that I've sort of, because I had hip issues, sort of stepped away from the game, and
Yeah.
and now I'm back, and sort of at a good time too. I feel like I'm grounded. I think the pandemic having given me the perspective and the time to sort of kind of get in my head and really decide what I wanted to do, and also seeing how short time is. It's made me sort of ramp up and get back into with my creative side.
No, sincerely. And you know what I think is awesome about, the time that everything is happening now? It's about perspective.
Yeah.
And honestly, as a creative, sometimes, like, look at, I'll give you an example of Prince. Prince had God knows how many songs saved up, and Imagínate. Like he used to say back when he was alive, he used to say, like, somebody goes, "Oh, so what's the new song? You mean the new one this week? I got
Yeah.
plenty."
Right. So he's very prolific, and then I'm sure there's still stuff that will come out when the moment is right. I think they've done that for a few hip hop artists that have passed away. They found new material on their hard drives that they maybe did on their own, but really weren't promoting because the stuff they were promoting was what they thought was ready. But even if some of this stuff isn't ready, I think, if an artist has passed away, it's more about seeing where their mind was, even if the song isn't 100% produced, unless they get the full track on a hard drive and they can sort of optimize it and give it a little tweak. But yeah, that's it in a nutshell. So we hope to, throughout 2019, 2022, I'm sorry, I'm still,
I
we're still at
think
the beginning
everybody's
of
like,
the pandemic.
"Oh my God, 2 years still."
Yeah, that's what we're gonna, aside from the reviews of films and what we do we've been doing for the site 13 years now, we'll also, break into kind of having our own label on the Latin horror to
Are you
produce.
guys gonna do streaming? So are you going to have like a channel on, like Amazon Prime? I think it allows you to
Some of
have
the
like
things that we
a.
have as a wish list long term. But
Oh,
I
okay.
think at this point, we're talking about, getting stuff in festivals, hopefully getting it on the various streaming services, Netflix, Hulu, etc., that we can generate some income back and get it seen also, get it seen also. But I'm of the mind that once a film does a certain amount of runs in film festivals, I put it up on YouTube because I want people to see it. I mean, a lot of people hold those films like, they've shot them. I know a friend that shot a film like with me
Uh-huh.
8 years ago, and still he's taking it on the film festival. It's not traveling anymore, and he just won't share it on YouTube or anything. And that's a choice. But I'm thinking, it's sitting there. At least you can promote it, you can get it out there, especially now with social media, and you can actually see how many people see it.
No, exactly.
The numbers and the metrics are there. So that's it. That's mostly it. Just moved into a new space. I was in a smaller studio. Now I moved into a full floor of a house, 3 bedrooms, huge living room, dining area.
Dang.
Feels good. It feels like there's a whole new wave of positive things happening in my life at this moment.
And new spaces do that. And to be honest with you, when you have a new space, you feel better.
Right.
And sometimes it's amazing what you can do in a small space, but when you have the space to finally breathe and be, independent,
That's
and
right.
really, it flows better, honestly. Not gonna lie, it really does.
Exactly.
Yeah, but what I loved about your appearance on my show was how you wrote a love letter to the Bronx, and I love
Right.
the fact that you were so poetic at some point that you kind of anamorphosized the Bronx as I hope to die in her arms one day, and I thought
Correct.
that was really like awesome and endearing, and I was like, you know what, I wish I had that kind of borough love.
I do. I do. I mean, in all transparency, I was born in the Lower East Side. My
Mhm.
mother came up to the Bronx when I was about a year old, and but so I can claim both. But really, I mean, if you talk about my DNA,
Mhm.
I'm really a Bronx boy. Because that's been my environment I grew up with. Those are the people that I rode. And it's funny because I use the hashtag Bronx DNA. So if you want to see a lot of my stuff, you put that in there and you come up with some crazy stuff. But yeah, I'm a Bronx boy, and so I grew up in a time when the Bronx was burning, no question about that.
Yeah.
But what's funny, and I think David Gonzalez, Ricky Flores, Angel Franco, Joe Conzo, and Francisco, we
Mhm.
had these conversations, and you see it in our exhibits together at Say Soon. But we didn't really realize that we were lacking anything when we were growing up, because that's a point of view. You have to have a reference for that. And so we enjoyed ourselves, and we didn't have the shiny playgrounds. We'd get off of the playgrounds with oxidation with chocolate hands, from the rust.
Yeah.
But we would have a good time on the seesaw and
Hey,
the
I miss the seesaw.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
I do. The jungle gyms of death.
yeah.
Listen, if you survive those jungle gyms, you consider yourself a warrior. You're like,
Especially
I made
those,
it to the
because
top.
even if
I'm
you get
going
on
down.
the monkey bars were nothing but a bunch of pipes. And if you went to the top and you fell, you were hitting various levels, and it was not
Ooh.
covered in any kind of foam or plastic. You were just going to get banged up. And our parents didn't tell us anything. They were just like, go play. Now you
Mhm.
see parents these days, every time they're telling a kid, breathe, don't breathe, breathe, don't breathe. It's like, let her get the lumps. That's how they experience life. And
No, it's
once
true.
they're on their own, boy, are they going to get the body blows, like. So
There was one last jungle gym, and I will tell you where I saw it. I saw it in Manhattan. I saw it
hmm,
at the Dyckman Playground right there by the A train, and
okay.
it was like the last like of the last bastion of like playground
Yeah,
because it was just the bars were like this, and I
yeah.
just looked at my son like
You should have
I'm
taken a
watching you
picture
from
of it.
down here. No, I think I did. I take a picture.
Yeah, go back and take a picture of it, because as soon as it gentrifies a little more, that stuff is coming out.
I know they're like, no, no, it's too dangerous.
The
The
Karens of
video.
the world are not going to want their kids to get a splinter or a bruise.
Hmm. It's gonna be more colorful, and I was just like, yeah, no, that park and Dykeman love it, but yo, after a certain hour of the night, that was a very creepy place to be because los ratones were like,
Right,
I was
right.
like, yeah, they're the size of anybody's teacup dog. I'm like, mm-mm,
Hmm.
no, senor, it's okay, I'm good, I'm so good. No, but I really thank you for being on the show. It really helped me. And, I've seen how hard you work and everything you've done up to this point and continue to do. You were at the official Latino Film Festival and you were a judge of a category, no?
Yeah, I've been with them. I think that they just did their 6th year, and I've been there from the second year.
Hmm.
I'm part of the committee that judges some of the films, particularly the horror category. And
Hmm.
so during the festival, we always do panels. And
Hmm.
it was the same. We did a couple of panels. At the year 2019, when the pandemic hit, we actually went out and we did the festival live in the Coachella Valley, which is now where uh, the curator and sort of brain trust Danny Hastings lives. And so I flew out with Christian, and Latin Horror actually kicked off the festival that year because it opened up on Halloween. So we started the festival that year with all the horror films, and it was a nice adventure. Both getting there and just enjoying the time with them. And this year we actually were able to do it here in New York City. So we did the awards night in New York City. And I thought that it perhaps was going to be under represented in terms of physical bodies, but he had a great turnout at the awards night. And he also, and I gotta say to my peeps out on the West Coast, especially my Mexican Chicana people, man, out there, they were packed. They came deep this year to the awards. So it was a nice mix between, all the Latinos that are based in New York, but we had a good Mexican Chicano representation, which I love because when I was on the board of NALIP, the National Association of Latino Independent Producers, I was on the board, I think, for 6 years and ran the New York chapter as president for 7. So I would go out at least 4 times a year to the West Coast so we can have our board meetings. And then I was shooting commercials out there in Mopac. So I got a lot of friends on the West Coast, and I have an affinity for my Mexican Chicano brothers and sisters because I got to know them well. And now we're fortunate that like El Barrio here in New York City, they used to be Spanish Harlem, mostly Puerto Rican. Now the next community that's really making it their own is the Mexican community, right? Which is a hardworking culture con familia, like we were. I think they still have that grip. I think our community has kind of lost that when you're here for a while, but they're here y tan fuerte con familia, so that's great.
No, sí, es verdad, verdad. And I think it's great that like I said, it's difficult to like rally the troops, and I was very happy this year that for the Golden Globe wins, which was really great.
That's
Yeah,
right.
Ariana DeBose, she actually won for West Side Story.
Mm-hmm.
The lead actress, Maddie, wait, I forgot her last. I think it's Zagler. I forgot her
Mm-hmm.
first. I forgot, but she won too, and I think that's fantastic. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
we
And I
got we got some props this year. Let's see what happens now. Usually in February, if I'm not mistaken, the Oscars, and so let's see if that rolls over. Uh,
mhm,
I think every time we get a win like that or a handful of wins,
mhm,
it's good for the community as a whole because it shows that that we're supporting our work, which is something that for a long time, as an
mhm.
activist, as an activist in media, I was always on the soapbox about that in the 90s and early 2000 about us not supporting our work. We want our work to be featured. We want to get a piece of the pie, but it is an industry also that is a business. And so if we come out and support our content, we'll start seeing ourselves represented more. But we also get in there by doing quality work. And I think that's starting to happen as more of our sisters and brothers get in there and they start, upping their game in acting and getting face time. I think it's a far gone conclusion that we'll be represented to the level that we should. We're underrepresented at the moment for sure. So it's carrot and stick. It's getting your act together as a creative and polishing your craft. And then there's the side where we also become gatekeepers and executives so that we can be the ones that say, okay, we want to see this.
Mhm.
And we're having that. We're seeing that a lot with like America Ferrar, who's doing great episodic television. And
Yeah, man, I was so pissed about Gentify because it was such a good show.
yeah,
It was something so credible and so real. I was so mad that Netflix canceled it. The same thing with the one that,
Netflix, what Netflix did was actually put it on hiatus for a minute, but season 2 just came out.
and I saw the entire season 2, and I was so in love. But after
So
season,
has Netflix already said they're not going to do a 3?
no,
I hadn't seen that.
which sucks.
Mhm.
And I was just so pissed about that. I was like, oh, come on. It was such a good show because it was such a palpable, real issue.
No, I loved it.
You know?
Me and my son here, who's moved in with me, we live together. We've had a blast watching it, and it's real.
Mhm.
And it's real because it's also like it's the writers and everything were Latina, and so we bring something to it. If you do your own thing, it's gonna get the flavor. But they did it really well, and they dealt with of issues.
And I actually liked Encanto by Disney. That was interesting. I saw it, and a lot of people were like, "Oh, well." Some people were like, "Well, they're not really magical or whatever." I'm like, it's about a family in the core. It's a
Mhm.
That's what makes it, you know, a Latinx movie because
Mhm.
family is the nucleus.
Right.
Everybody has their own powers and all this other stuff, but together they're better
Yeah.
instead of, you know, trying to be apart. And actually, Lin-Manuel Miranda did his thing, and also he did this movie called Vivo,
Yeah.
which was a Cuban theme, and it was so nice. I liked it. Again, it's all about how you know, curate the content and really try to like put it forth
Mhm.
to the masses.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sometimes attaching a name doesn't work. Sometimes it's the message.
Yeah.
Look
No.
at
And
the muscular character of Luisa. She's the oldest sister in the movie, and her song is like everybody's like, "Oh my God, I feel represented. I feel seen." And
yeah, I
even
think
mothers
we're
are
getting more visibility. And, but we got to definitely get executives in there. We got to get our people also wanting to be the executive producers and people that take a chance uh, on putting their money and creating mini majors. For a period of time, I know that a lot of our hopes were hung on Robert Rodriguez. At least mine was when he sort of created his own network in LA, and it sort of went away for a little while. I don't know all the specifics, but it seems to have come back. But hopefully, it starts showing more content that really represents us, and it's not just sort of a place to sort of put, like just pop culture stuff or, uh, the kind of work that he enjoys. I mean, he's the top chief, so it has to be what he wants, but meaning he has to expand the menu. For a while it was like pop culture.
And he did a good job at some point with when he did the Grindhouse series, like the B
Right.
movie with Quentin Tarantino. But after that, he just kind of fell off, and I don't know, maybe it was kind of sad, honestly. 'Cause
Yeah. Well, that's he loves that stuff. That sort of like that kind of genre. But he's going to continue, and hopefully, if he gets the right people behind him too, to be telling him that we need to navigate in this direction. And it's a matter of rebranding it. Sometimes things when you launch something, people only look at it one way, right? So though it's a one-trick pony, he's going to be just doing pop culture stuff, pulp, what they call pulp, which is what him and Tarantino really like. And so maybe he can expand on that in another way that allows for other content, and not just become a platform where he aggregates content that he can just pick and choose from other places because it's available. But there's a need for that. I'm sure there's people out there that go to his station just because of the flavor of what he's serving up. The thing is, does the business model of it allow it to expand or continue to be self-sufficient? So we need more people like that can, do their own thing, and some of them are going to make it, and some of them are not. But
Mhm.
we start getting chips in the game, and like anything that where you gamble, you're going to win or lose, and it's try again, reinvent it.
This is very true. You know what? When I first, my second episode, when I was looking for people, I was just like, oh my gosh, who can I think of? And I was like, well, why can't I love the fact that you call yourself a silver fox. I think that's really cool. And I was just like, oh my God, I can't do invite. Like, who do I invite? And I'm thinking, and
Yeah,
I'm like,
no, it's all in. It's all
who can
in.
say yes if I invite him? I don't know. He's a busy guy. He has a lot of stuff doing, you know. So I
There's
was
always
kind
time. There's always time for community. The people that are going to see this are our friends, are people in the industry, people that are filmmakers, and that's cool. I don't mind taking some time, and an hour, half an hour doesn't really take away, but it provides
of,
other content for people to have, and also for people to digest. And it's and this might be that something that someone wants to hear, or just can kill 45 minutes and be like, all right, I believe that, or even in the comments be like, I don't agree with that at all. Okay, so we're having a dialogue now. So everything starts. rolling out in concentric circles of comfort. And so there's nothing wrong with that. We need to be doing our media no matter what, even if it's like me against the wall here or you there in front of a kitchen.
I do have a curtain. I do have a background. It's just, to be honest with you, I moved from the Bronx to Manhattan, so I have a smaller kitchen now. I know, but to be, it was closer for work, and then my son moved
Yeah.
into Manhattan, so entonces I had to like make the change.
It's
Yes, I do miss the
all
big kitchen that I had because I could actually hang the banner there and it'll be okay and
it's
stuff
something
like
that
that. But
you
it's a trade-off.
keep
Um,
working it until your studio is outside the house. It'll happen if you stick with it. Just put that out there.
this is true. Manifest, manifest,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
manifest.
Actually, working on stuff to put in the back. I'm creating
Mhm.
this design on foam core on a
Oh,
8x5 piece of foam core. Then I'm putting shelves and all that. Then I'm going to paint it, put odd things so that I could
oh,
put it
you're making like your own screen almost.
and then light it. And since it's foam core, if I just need to do a regular business meeting, I can just slide it out, and I don't have to mess up the walls. The landlord is not going to want that. And I don't want to have to repaint it later on when I have to go. So
This is true. That's how
the good thing with doing a modular piece like that is that if I need to take it somewhere, I could just put it in the back of a truck or something and
yeah, and just make it easier to travel.
pack it, take with, especially if I score it in the back, fold it in half,
Yeah,
put it in the back of a car,
lemon squeeze. That's it.
wherever. Yeah, so I could do my Latin horror show from wherever. But, those are the things we're working on and continuing to find ways to do it. I know that Christian today was telling me that we're going to be doing an interview. He's going to be doing. I'm supporting him that day behind the scenes with StreamYard, this very platform that we're on. To do a couple of interviews that he's doing. Texas Chainsaw Massacre. So he's doing he's going to be doing a live to tape, like we're doing of the cast from that. I'll be behind the scenes, switching the camera and putting in the names, etc., and running some clips from the movie.
All right. Oh, Jerry says hi, hi Ed.
Hello, how are you? Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Oh, my main man, Elmo the Foca. Can we say that? We can say that on Instagram.
That's fine.
What's up, Jerry? Yeah, no.
Well, if you say it all together, it'll sound like.
I know. Yeah, but I think we rolled together on some projects quite a few years ago, and I've seen that group over the years do their thing,
Oh yeah,
really kicking ass.
yeah. Jerry was even in a show called Dadrophy, and well, let me bring Jerry aboard here. Okay, so now Jerry's
What's up?
here. What's
What's up?
up?
What's up?
People,
My man Ed, how you been, man? It's been way too long.
I know, man. I see you guys doing your thing. I don't know if you caught some of the early thing, but I had some hip issues. I was out of the game for a minute, but I'm coming full blast. So I'm starting to shoot again. My office here is full of gear that I've been getting, LED lights and everything. We've invested in camera gear, so we're going to be shooting a lot of stuff short.
Yo nomás tengo esto. I just got this recently. It's a little camcorder, but it's something to shoot outside actually.
Whatever you do. Well, glad to have you back, E. Glad to have you back.
Yeah,
Glad to
man.
see you. Glad to see you up and about. I mean, we always tend to run into each other in the city and in like weird places. I was like real quick, hey, what's up? Hey, what's up? But no, glad. Yeah, I see. But it's always love, man. I'm glad to see you. And you're getting back into it.
And I'm
Yeah,
sure
no,
that once I'm fully back, I'm sure we'll end up working on stuff together.
absolutely.
Yeah.
So for those tuning in, Jerry was my episode 7 guest for the web series Dadrophy.
Yes.
And Jerry's everywhere, menos la casa. But as you know, we have to be in this industry in terms of that. Very few of us can just stay home and be like, okay, I'm watching the paint dry. No, it's like, no, I got to get out there. I got to just do the thing. And also, I'm working with Jerry Gavoli for the summer. It's only going to be a 1 day shoot. It's going to be the movie is called Graduation Day,
Nice.
and it's kind of like a mother's version of like the talk that a father and a son need to have.
Ah, the talk.
Yes, like your child is like, Dad, I'm autistic. When you gonna realize that? Why don't you treat me like everybody? Why you treat me regular? You know I have this condition. I feel like you don't treat me like I said. And then his father goes into, um, I'm not trying to give too much of the movie away, but his father goes into, life is cruel. I'm just trying to toughen you up. I'm not doing it the right way.
Tough
And
luck.
people, of color, when we have conditions like this, they usually never believe us.
Right.
So it's kind of to that fact. We're gonna tweak the script as we
You
go.
gotta, you gotta do it. You gotta do it. So you got the man here. You talk to me now for about 30 minutes. You gotta take advantage. Find out what
You
you've been up to.
best.
Yes, give us a status report, Jerry.
I'm cooked. You don't even have to turn me over. We got Jerry here. Ask him some
Far,
questions.
far from it, Ed. Far from it. You are not cooked. You still got some good times left. No, no. Looking for actually tonight. Looking forward to. We actually have written season 2 of Dad Repeat. Yo, Ed, they got me doing drama now. Ed, they got me doing drama. They got
Yes,
me doing
yes.
drama.
You gotta check out how
Um,
he does drama. It's
I
so
just
good.
I just finished telling her that our people have to step up their game and be diversified.
absolutely,
Brother.
absolutely,
That's how you get in the
absolutely.
game.
I just know, like, we do get seldom opportunities, right? But when we get those opportunities, let's be prepared and let's knock it out. Like, you can't be undeniable, regardless of who you are.
That's right.
Just try to be undeniable. Try to be so good that they have to.
Yeah.
That's been my whole thing, my whole life. Like, I can't. I don't audition like that because I know what's out there for me. So I rather
Mhm.
write my own stuff. I rather do my
That's
own
right.
stuff, and then when people see it, then they'll come and tell me. And there's stuff that I've taken chances on and been like, okay, but you got to do it. If you're not feeling, you're not doing nothing. So,
That's right. That's right.
um,
And, yeah. And
All
that
right.
used to be one of my pet peeves when I saw friends of mine who were actors, whether female or male, and they were having a hard time with the auditions and or getting callbacks. And next thing you know, they wanted to do a one man or one woman show.
right,
Like skip,
the
go
whole
straight.
process, yeah,
And then they were wondering why people weren't reviewing their one person show favorably because it was whack.
right, right,
No,
You
exactly.
haven't learned the craft. You haven't put in the time. You want to get to the finish line overnight.
yeah.
And that's good if you're doing certain entrepreneurial things, you could do that.
Yeah.
But when it comes to a certain craft that you have to really
Got to put in the work.
master,
Yeah,
I mean, it takes time. And sometimes, that doesn't mean you don't want to do your man or one woman show, but at least get it to the stage where people are going to come in and feel respected that you did enough for me to go pay $20.
right.
I tell you the truth, I get friends sometimes that tell me, "Oh, come on this thing and vote for me." And I always tell them, if you're not the best one, I'm not going to vote for you. I'm
Yeah,
going
right.
to. I swear to my kids, I do that. I'll go and there'll be somebody that really is head and shoulders over them. That's who I vote for.
Yeah,
I'm not
yeah.
voting because I know you, unless it's something different. You know what I mean? But when it comes to talent, I'm not throwing my dime in your hat if you like the worst one in there. Like,
And you know what? No, and you know what, Ed? Like, and something I've admired from you, and I took a little bit of that to do what I've been able to do, and that's like moving in circles where people like us don't generally move. Like you pretty much like you opened up those doors for all these people that are now doing horror and like Latino horror,
right.
like especially from here. And it was like you were one of the original. Like nobody was messing with that. Like everybody was wanted to do like these big like Latino Shakespeare shit they wanted to do and like drama stuff
Or the
and
gangster
or the
roles.
gangster stuff. That was the other thing I was gonna say,
Yeah.
or the New York gangster stuff, right? And then,
Yeah.
but that's the funny thing, Ed is in one
Empire, the
corner,
movie with John
right,
Leguizamo.
right. So, but you see, Ed was in one corner doing the horror stuff and building like that whole world of like that his whole company and all that stuff that he was doing on that side, and I saw that and it was like when I came to do like sketch comedy, because I left stand up and I was like I want to do sketch and sketch is a very very white world and you got to go through
Mhm.
these avenues and all this other stuff and I said no, you know, I'm from the, you know, and that's not, I'm not saying that everybody should subscribe to this, but the way that I work is like, you know, if there's not a door for me, I'm gonna make it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Or I'm gonna knock in. I'm gonna break a window. I'm
Yeah.
gonna get in. You know what I'm saying? And I'm gonna do it the way that I want to. If I can, you know what I'm saying? Like if they allow me to, don't let me in. And because when I get in, I'm gonna do what I have to do. So, in moving in those circles, like you know, the comedy circles, and then doing like the sketch stuff, like especially kids that look like me, like that. You know, there's no hip hop, there's no street, there's no none of that, no Latino, no Afro Latinos in
Right.
that world.
Mm-hmm.
So when they saw me, it's like, I'm not black enough for black people, and then it was like I'm not Latino enough, and I was like, nah, I'm just gonna do, and I think what people need to do is, just do your work, man. Just do your art. Don't worry about who's gonna like it or who's not gonna like it. Trust your taste. Because then that's what people are like, oh, you know what, I relate to this and stuff like that. And I was like, I think when people get caught up in like, yo, I'm gonna do this because I know these people are gonna like it, or I'm gonna do this for this section, or even to be like, yo, I'm gonna do something for Latinos. No, no, no. Do something for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
The Latino things, all your identities that you carry with you will present themselves
Yeah.
in your work, and like that's why again when we first started, everybody was like with Spanish names in this comedy thing, los chisto whatever, and I was like, no, I want to have room 28 because one, I don't want people to judge us before they see us because then they'll be like, oh, that's some Latino thing, I don't want to see it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I did that at the beginning with Latin Horror, where people didn't know that it was my company.
Right.
Because I figured my friends would be the first to say, "Oh, why are you doing that? What does that matter?" And let me tell you, I mean, there's a saying there. The late great Shirley Chisholm, who was like a really cool African American. She ran for even president of the United States.
Right,
After
she's a congresswoman.
she had a famous quote that said,
Icon.
"You're right." She had a quote that said, "If you're not giving a seat at the table, bring a folding chair."
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
and that's
Yep.
what we gotta do. Tyler Perry.
Yeah.
He did his whole thing
A
by
whole
building
studio.
the network, by doing that show,
Mhm.
taking it across the U.S. and the South to where the churches were, building up the audience, and then
His own audience. He has his own audience.
his
Forget
own
about
audience.
African American audience. There's a Tyler Perry audience.
Right,
Yes.
right. And he was
know?
able to take that and say,
Yeah.
listen, I got this many people that subscribe to what I'm doing. Let's make a movie.
Facts.
And that was before they're starting to do this whole nonsense
Yep.
about how many hits you got, how many people
Yep.
follow you. He just did it from real, like, these are the numbers. I got
Yeah.
lit, mailing list. Like, these
Yeah.
are all the people that come to my show, every state.
And it's like, and it's like there's a lot of people, especially the minds, like, oh, with Saturday Night Live, still no Latinos, and I'm like, you know what? Pardon my French, F Saturday Night Live. You know what I mean? Like, let's do our own thing. Like, that's really where it came from. My idea of like, instead of depending and complaining about what we're not getting or we're not allowing, which is fine. No, because we have a gripe. We do, but we have to have an answer when that door opens. And I think a lot of times, when we get the opportunity, then they do get the opportunity, and then the shit sucks. So then they don't get that universal support that they're looking for. You just want to get supported because you're Latino, and it's like, no, the things don't work like that. I think you're undervaluing and also like underestimating the intelligence of your audience. If it's good, it doesn't matter. Look at Squid Games. Look at what was the one that won the best Korean movie? I forgot the name of the one where the guy living in the house. Yeah, Parasite. It didn't matter whether they were Korean or not. Did it matter that you were reading the subtitles or not? No, it didn't matter. You were watching a good movie, regardless of what it was.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what people need to concentrate on, instead of like, oh, this is an opportunity for me to do something like this. Just tell your story. You know what I mean? And your story may not be like Latinoized as to but you carry that as an identity. So just put it out there. It's gonna come out regardless. Exactly. It's gonna come out.
And that's why, with the short film that I'm doing, I just wanted to have a universal theme.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Every culture has to talk.
Right.
Whether it's whatever language it may be. Like, for example, this is a brazen statement I'm about to say, but, for African Americans, the talk is, how do you interact with authority outside your home?
Mm-hmm.
For example, me, it's like, okay, I'm Latina, I'm a little pale, but how do I interact wherever I go? And how do I teach my son, who's basically, has a condition that he's kind of just in his own world and he's waiting for people to, bring him in, but he's social, he's friendly. How do
Right.
you tell him, like, okay, you see this person here?
People are
That
nice.
person's not gonna give you the
Right.
benefit of the
Right.
doubt.
Mhm.
They're not gonna like want to hear you out or even want to have a conversation with you. And sometimes I have to play referee. I have to be like, hello, hi, excuse me, you see me? Yeah, no.
It's a tough thing. It's a
So,
tough
and
thing.
that's why I wanted to do it because I feel like it wasn't the Latino thing that made me think of the story. I just think about the universality of having a talk with your child,
Right.
Right.
and of a parent admitting their failings, like our relationship isn't the best, but there's things that we could work on. And one person said, "Oh, it has to be more conflictive enough." I said, "Okay, yeah, all right, okay." And you know what I put? The person was even criticizing the wrong character. I was like,
Right.
"Really? How you gonna give me a critique and you criticizing the wrong character?"
But that's
Well, I
knee
mean,
jerk. Go
right.
ahead.
And that's the other thing we got to be careful too in this business. It's not, listen, advice and having a team around you giving you the right advice and telling you the right things and checking you. It's like one of the most important things. But we
Hmm.
also have to be careful too of listening to people that haven't done what you're going to do. And I
Right.
think a lot of people put themselves like, when we were about to, when we got to go to LA and all this other stuff, we did this big thing where we were showing everybody what we were going to do. This was already pre-selected by NBC. We already presented this. This is already done. And one of the people involved kind of opened the floor. They're like, "Oh, so what do you guys think?" And then all these people started like, "Well, I think you should do this, and I think you should." And I'm looking at them, and I'm like, and I'm not to be an asshole, but I'm like, okay, first of all, you've been in the industry way longer doing all of this shit, and you haven't even gotten as close as what we're about to do. And
Hmm.
instead of telling me like, "Hey, man, trust yourself," like this, well, I think you should, and I'm like, well, I'm not changing this shit at the last minute because you
No,
told me to.
okay,
And
correct.
I must have, not to be cocky, but I'm the one that got this opportunity because of the way that I've been doing it the way that I have. Not that I won't take advice, but you're telling me to
No,
change my whole shit. You're telling me to do it how you did it. But that didn't,
exactly.
you know what I mean? It's
Kind of
like,
like, where has that gotten
you
you?
have to be right. You have to be very careful with that. And there's a lot of people that, in the realm of like trying to give you advice or suggesting stuff, their ego gets in. We're all human. People's
Yeah,
egos
yeah.
and stuff gets in the way, and all of a sudden their own shit. And everybody's got their own journey. I'll give somebody an advice on how I might have done something, but I can never tell them like what you should do. This is what you should do. And it's like you got to be
Yeah.
careful because everybody's got their own.
Mm.
We could be, it's like twins, right? They could be having the same exact life at the same exact time, but they're having two completely different experiences. And you
Yeah.
kind of have to respect that. Yeah.
And it's
No.
a little naive to come into the room with that attitude anyway, because if they came to an event where you already are the showcase,
Right.
it's
Right.
done.
It's
It's
over.
done.
It's done.
If my poster's in the window,
Right. Right.
the
Right.
film is done, dude.
Right. It's done. It's
You can't
done.
tell me nothing. Like, go
It's
see it, then you could fucking go online and critique
done.
it.
That's it. That's
Send,
all it. Yeah.
send me
Give
the
me the
link.
review that
Send me
way.
the
Yeah.
link so I can put it in my press notes and shit.
But
Maybe.
it's so strange sometimes, especially like that's what I'm saying. Like Latinos suffer of that, like especially like because there's been people that have been really trying to knock on that door for a long time, and our job, the ones that are actually getting the. I mean, I ain't doing shit, compared to what the future kids are gonna do as far as from what
Mhm.
we've been able to open up. But like I make sure that like I praise. When I'm talking to the young people, I praise the people that came before me that aren't recognized. There was no social media to know about like New Yorican rules and stuff like that. Where I'm the one that I'm like, look, this is you gotta have to like gotta give the kind of the oral history because at the end of the day, yeah, you have to see and you have to know your history in order not to commit the same mistakes. But also at the same time, like that's where it should stay. There's a reference to it, but it shouldn't
Right,
be like the total guideline.
right.
No, facts.
Exactly.
And
Right.
that's the thing, and that's where we fall into the trap. So
Yeah.
when listen, this is how I responded back to the critique. I said, "Thank you for your criticism. I appreciate it. However, the character that you're talking about is Wellington, not
Right.
Aaron.
Right, right. You're talking about the wrong character, yeah.
You're telling me about the wrong character, and I'm like, okay. And it's just the thing is like, there's a certain expectation that has been like tossed around, and they expect you to like, act this. And I'm like, yeah, I'm so sorry. I don't speak with an accent. And yes, I've had my life of struggle, but that's not the defining thing at my moment. The
Yeah.
struggle is part of what I've been doing. It's there, and I've managed to push over it and just try to do what I can to just keep my head up above water. If
I,
you haven't done it, then
I mean, but
my bad.
there's gonna be you're gonna have enough people in your life telling you what you can't do. You know
Oh
what I
yeah,
mean?
of
You're gonna.
course.
Oh no, and it's not even on some like ill intention stuff. It was like, oh no, you don't kind of like that's not done. It's not, like when I was coming up, there's no way you could do comedy and music. There's no way because you have to be a gangbanger. You have to get shot 9 times. You have to do all of this stuff, and then all of a sudden, here comes Kanye. He's not even wearing like men's clothes anymore, and it's like the whole game has changed because there's an evolution to things. But again, it takes someone actually saying, nah, fuck it. I don't need to listen to this. Let me just do what I got to do moving forward. I don't have to, I don't have to follow whatever guidelines were set before me. If there is no guidelines. When you're doing what you got, your art is your art. You can do it however the hell you want to do it. It belongs to you. However you want to present it, then that's how it goes. So.
Yeah.
No, of course. No, but I'm happy that you guys, showed up. Thank you for showing up to the StreamYard, podcast.
Of course. No, and thank you for like, at the end of the day, like shows like this highlighting stuff that and people that are in the community. These are the important things. Even though like it may be small shows and stuff like that, it's important even for us to show up and show you support because you are always there supporting us. So it's not a problem.
Yeah, yeah.
No, yeah, and I appreciate it so much. It's like I said, I started this show because I was just like, you know what? I was watching, I was watching BronxNet, and then now here I'm in Manhattan, I'm watching MNN, and I was just like, some of the shows I look at, I'm just like,
It's supposed to be a community channel, right? Yeah.
I know it's a community channel, and there was just some stuff that I was just like, I'm like, how did this get on here?
Yeah, well, it's all right. That's why you step in there. That's why you step in there.
That's right.
And I was just like, you know what? I know dynamic people that are doing great things in the community, and they're not being shown enough. And it's just like they've put in the work. Like, why not? Sincerely, why not?
I think it'll get better. I think I like Jerry said, there's a lot of our youth out there that are going to be like, they live in this stuff, they live in it. Like we looked at content for a long time as a tool, right? Something to make. These kids breathe this stuff. Like to them is listen, my 19-year-old didn't even know what a CD was. Right? but he goes on Instagram, and I think by the time he was 16, he must have had like 30,000 people following him with 2 pictures he put up.
They know what to do.
They know how to do it, and they know how to set it out and everything. But what he would do was use the stories to put up really cool stuff that was only there for 24 hours, and that would get him a lot of stuff. But when you look at his stuff, and this is what a lot of them try to do, like I got this many followers, but I've only got this many clips up, and also I'm only following. So even though people right. He might have been following 5 of his real friends, that was it. So to them, it's kind of like I got a little pizzazz because look, I'm only following 5 people. I got 30,000 following me, and I've only got 2 clips up. Like that's a thing with them too.
That's juice, yeah, man.
They know how to do that,
Yeah.
It's a different world. They eat this stuff, and and with whatever tools come down the thing, because all of this stuff is tools. Now we're shooting with like 8K, 12K video cameras, and even the internet is starting to catch up to the bandwidth, at least to 4K, being able to through these services. And by the time these kids are like 20s and 30s, the stuff that'll be out there that they'll be using as a tool, we can't even imagine at this point.
And also like for us, creating was such a big thing. Like we didn't have access to cameras, we didn't have access to all these things that now kids are like, they know the terms as teenagers. Like we had to like be on a movie set or have dealt with somebody that had been in the business to teach us the terms, to know, like we didn't create, you know, we needed to rent cameras. We needed to do all of that stuff when we were creating content back then, you know, even if it was short films or whatever. Now, like people are doing stuff with their phones and all this other stuff. Like there's no, you know, there's no what do you call that, there's not that, like, I don't know, there's not that wall between people and like the youth and camera like there was before. Like we always think about cameras about like a presentation thing, you know, and presenting ourselves. And for them, like as soon as the kids are born, you know, I always say this joke, you know, you remember back in the day, we always had that one relative that never wanted their picture taken. It was always like, no. And it was like always a thing. And like always in the picture, they come out like this, doing all this shit. And they would only do the group pictures with the family, era raro, whatever. And now, you know, newborns are like, that's normalized to have a camera in their face as soon as they're born. They know about pictures. And when they're on camera, they feel it. And, you know, it's a totally different. So when they're walking into that now, you know, as kids, they're used to being watched. They're normalized with the whole, like, you know, even the CCTV shit, you know, like we didn't have all of that, you know. So now for us, even for us, like to do something, to be on camera, we know there's like a whole presentation thing that goes on. But with them, it's like, all right, just turn it on. And they'll put the camera real close to their face and they don't give a shit. You know, we're like, no, see, no, this is my good side and this is their lighting. And, you know, it's terrible. It's terrible. And now it's even worse because, you know, we got old. So we're like, yo, wait, hold on.
Yeah. There's a wrinkle over here, but
nah, we can't all look like Ed. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, nah, Ed got the silver fox thing going, so we can't all look like Ed. So,
who's joining us here?
Yes, this is High Life. He is a rapper, skit actor.
What up, High Life?
He does everything and anything. So let's welcome you. What's up? How you doing, High Life?
What's good, man? What's good, everybody? Blessings, everybody. I'm sorry I'm late, but better late than never, man. You know what I mean?
Right.
You're not late.
High Life.
We were warming up the audience.
I don't got the headphones, so I can't hear y'all. I just came here to show my sis some love. Check her YouTube. Subscribe to her. Do it up, man. This is her year. She about to have my boy Mark Reigns, my homegirl Black Rose on her show, man. She doing big things this year. Support my sis, man. You already know the vibes.
Yes,
I had to come through, show you some love, sis. You know the vibes. I never forget you, man.
No, I appreciate it. He was my episode 12 guest, so definitely had to, like, you know, put him up. And he has an LP coming out. And it was interesting how we like came about in terms of like talking with one another. And he does a lot of stuff. He does a lot of content, a lot of funny stuff. And I thought it was great because I was like, man, I haven't reached out to any of the rappers in the community. I felt bad. I was like, oh, I haven't done my due diligence. Like, I need to shine the music scene that there is in the Bronx. And I haven't done that. And I was like, dang, I'm flipping. So then I invited High Life onto there. So I thought that was great in terms of everything. So I was happy about that.
And I think, you know, like we're talking about the younger people that are really good on social media. I think High Life just gave you a perfect 1 minute soundbite for your social media.
There you go.
Gave it a shot.
Yes. He's good at that. I gotta learn how to like loosen up and, you know, talk a little better about it.
Yo,
I do. And he has a clothing line called Eating Good Entertainment. He has a whole clothing line called Eating Good Entertainment.
Okay.
So, you know, cop some merch and help him out. And he has the single now for Valentine's Day. Yes. One is called
I don't got my headset, so I can't hear nothing. I'm sorry if I cut anybody off. I just want to say one thing because I gotta go. I'm sorry. You know, we live and all that. You know the vibes. Many blessings to all of y'all on here right now. You know what I mean? She doing big things, Spanish culture. Like I said, look after my sis. She doing something good, positive for her community, for us, for the world. She's positive energy, positive vibes. Many blessings to you. We definitely gonna catch up soon. I love what you're doing. Don't never stop what you're doing. Have a great night and don't forget, always eat good, baby girl. On this blunt. Blessings to all y'all. Have a good night, y'all.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. All right, bye. So yeah, no, it was great. He was my season 12 guest, and I thought it was fantastic that he did that. I contacted him, I think, last week, and I was like, here's the thing for StreamYard, please, even if it's a quick, just pop up, say hi, and stuff like that. And
he came in with a statement. I said he came in, made a statement, and now you got a commercial.
I do.
You really do. You really do. That's a perfect commercial.
I do.
Yeah, that's a really good soundbite.
Is my friend Andrea Koo the second. His company's called Unusual Jeans. So this is why the shirt says Unusual.
I like it. Yeah.
Yeah, and he does baseball caps and everything. So
Say less. Va para allá ahorita.
No, and like I said, this season I'm trying to get more guests. I was, my first episode is going to be with Mark Rain, which I'm sure you guys.
Nice
guy. I wish he had talent. That kid is so untalented. I swear to God. I swear to God. And he's ugly. He can't sing. The guy can't do nothing. No, that guy is like a freaking Swiss Army knife, bro. That's my brother, man. Yo, shout out to Mark, bro. Yeah.
No, man. Mark does a lot.
He does everything. He does
the branding. He does the acting. He does theater.
He's a model. He sings. You just keep going. Dale. Yeah.
And the same thing with Rosemary or I Am Black Rose.
Yes.
It's really
another one that doesn't do nothing, right? She has a single. She can't sing. She can't. No. These are people. And then another one with the wellness. She does all the yoga stuff. Like that's pretty dope.
Yeah. I had never met her. I met her at the festival, Danny Hastings Festival.
Yeah.
We got in. We were in the line. They weren't letting people in yet. They were still setting up the restaurant. This is when they did the awards night. They did it last year. Yeah. And I saw Rachel there. We were outside waiting together. And when we got inside, we were settling in. That's right.
I got to hook her in to come to the show one day.
I got you. We'll talk. I got you. Yeah, she'll do it.
And I saw her, and I'm like, and she's dressed like pow, pow, pow.
Yeah.
Like she was walking and like you couldn't miss her. And then later in the evening after the award ceremony, she said, oh, you guys got to meet this, that, and the other thing. And then I friended her. Followed her on Instagram. Then she followed me, and I'm just like, she's here, she's there, she's doing this, she's doing that.
She stand up. I mean, she does it all. That's what I'm saying. We got people in our community that are ready. Like, oh, you need an actor, you need a comedian, you need a singer, what do you need? Like, there's a lot of us that do it all. Right, whatever you need, we got you. We're gonna do it. We can do it. Let's do it.
No, I can say that. And I'm speaking to my friend Nanisa Carolina. She does the Mahaven Film Festival. So she does that. She does vending, and I even spoke to an up-and-coming comedian who's been in the game for a while, and Aaron Smith. His whole podcast is called Aaron Smith Can't Lose. I'm like, all right.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because he was the one that put me on, and he was just like, you have a lot of Latinos on your show. And I said, I do? I said, okay. He's like, yeah. You know, what happened to the brothers? I said, well,
let's go.
Like, I don't mind interviewing the brothers, but people got to do something productive. Like, I had somebody hit me up on oh yeah, I think it's really great what you do. Like, I don't know if he was being condescending, facetious, or he was too damn high to have a conversation. I don't know. I was just like, thank you.
Yeah.
I don't know what you think I'm doing, but this ain't it. I'm busy. I got too much going. Much of best luck. Do what you got to do. That's it. So, guys, thank you so much for being on the season 1 recap show. I appreciate it. And check out definitely LatinHorror.com if you have not seen it.
Thank you.
Look at all the great work coming up for LatinHorror.com. You will not be disappointed. If you're a horror fanatic, it is all you. And also check out Jerry, or just go to his Instagram. Jerry's doing way too much. He has a lot of cookies in the cookie jar. So I can't even tell you what Jerry's doing.
But check out for Dad Repeats. Dad Repeat season 2 is definitely coming out. And my podcast just got picked up on the network, the Men on Pause podcast. We're gonna be on Latino pods. So
nice.
Good thing.
That is
Great
awesome.
thing. So everybody should be getting a call from me at some point for something. Yeah.
Okay, well.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, you got my info. You can call me.
You already know.
Yeah, take it easy. No.
Let's connect.
Thank you, everybody. You have a great night. It's been
Let's
awesome.
do it, Ed.
Get some steaks or something somewhere.
I'm down.
Yeah.
I'm down.
Right.
I'm so down. All right.
So have a live event, and I'll show up.
That's all.
I'll get a babysitter for the night. I'll see.
I got you.
And thank you for inviting us and putting this.
Yes. Thank you.
This is the first time I ever used StreamYard, so let's see how everything goes. Hopefully,
it'll be fun.
Not bad. Yeah, you'll be good.
So, thank you, StreamYard. Bye, everybody.
Peace, y'all.
Peace.